I guess when I think of seeker sensitivity, it's kind of an amazing thing, because the more you talk about something like that, the harder it is to kind of get a feel on it. I think it's something that's just experienced. Our church is just wonderful at doing that. There are a lot of people who come to Owensboro Christian. They use words like warm, inviting, easy to understand, practical, very relational, personal. And when you hear those words, you know you're making this connection. It's really pretty cool. Over the last 3 years, we've had more than likely over 500 people who have made a connection to Jesus, first of all, but then as well to Owensboro Christian. And I think it's because at the heart of who we are, it's this sensitivity to what it's like to be lost and what it means to really be connected with God. And so it's pretty cool when I think about seeker sensitivity. I think we live that out really well. To answer that question, I would say we use a lot of different things. We always seem to be doing things that are kind of program-oriented, from children's ministry to the musicals that we hear, the drama stuff that comes around at Christmas and Easter. Those are great bridge events to pull people from the community in and to invite them and attract them. And I think also the other thing that kind of serves to attract or kind of entice new people to be a part of Owensboro Christian Church, or at least to check it out, is it's just the product that they walk into. It's the worship service. It's the uniform feel that everything is geared to making them, or making it easy to understand. I believe that programming has a part in that. Word of mouth is huge. You know, it's always amazing to see people who have just invited friends, and how'd you get connected? And it's like, well, neighbor down the street or somebody from work, and boys were on the same basketball team, or girls were in the same soccer team, and those types of connections, that word of mouth connection of just life on life and people inviting and rubbing shoulders in the community. It's just kind of amazing. But I think that's what's so attractive about our church, or that's how people get connected to us. It's we're outside of the walls. It's not just about in here. It's out there as well. One of the thoughts that seems to stand out to me over the past few years, especially just recent history, is the number of people who are choosing to plug into ministry, to be a part of something that is helping to grow the kingdom, and specifically our congregation. There are guys who have, in student ministries, that are stepping in to lead small groups of guys and girls that before this time they'd never done that. They'd never invested their life into a small group of young believers. And I see those things happening. I hear about new ministries that have been started, the food pantry ministry and all that they do week in and week out. I know counseling is a big thing. There's a lot of people who are looking for counseling, and the people who are available to do some of that stuff is growing. I love the fact that ministry is a value, and we have an opportunity to plug in. My only reticence is that I wish there were more people doing more things, because it just makes for a bigger picture, or a more full, complete picture. But ministry has been an exciting thing to watch transform the lives of individuals, but ultimately the life of this church. It's ministry at heart.
I have to tell you that one of the coolest things about Owensboro Christian Church is the importance and the value that we put on baptism. Baptism in this church is a big deal. And the reason why baptism is so cool is that we get to see a new person come in, experience Christ. They experience the worship. They experience the message. They get fired up. They're like, dude, I've got to be baptized. So they choose to be baptized. And then we get to see the old self, their flesh, be crucified and then come to life in Christ. So it's very significant spiritually what we get to see manifested physically. So it's cool stuff. But what I have to tell you is that if you choose not to be baptized and you're kind of not sure whether you should be, in my opinion, I'd like to tell you that I'm not sure how serious you are about following Jesus. Because it was his words, not Owensboro Christians, not anyone that, it's not a church leader. It was Jesus' words. He said, believe in me and be baptized. And so therefore, if you choose not to be, then it's a disobedience thing. So I'm going to say, be obedient. Make the step. Choose to be baptized. Do it. Follow him. After baptism, it's cool because then we get to see people embrace Christ and follow him long term. One of the most important steps we make is to finally surrender to Christ and to allow God to come in and take over and allow him to finally say, are you done sinning? Are you finally done and ready to come into my arms? And so you embrace him, and then you choose to be immersed in baptism. And it's kind of like a signifying death. Your old life is gone and the new comes alive. And I love what happens after that, the transformation that takes place in people's lives. I love the way people just start clinging to God and their worship is broken and sincere and tender. And I love that Owensboro Christian Church has been a place where you see a baptism all the time. If you come in the evening, there's a good chance you'll see one. But at a service, more than likely there's going to be a baptism. And there's hundreds in the past 3 years. I've been here 5, and I've got to be a part of a lot of baptisms. And it is just cool to be at a place where lives are changed. They're transformed into the likeness and character of Jesus himself. To me, it's a simple step. Jesus said to do it. And so if you don't, I would question whether or not you really want to follow him. It's an obedience thing. If Jesus said to do it, do it. Get baptized. It's good stuff. It's the first step in your journey with him for the rest of your life. So baptism is very significant. It's a big deal. And I don't think that we should take it lightly in any way. So I would say choose to be baptized. And then after that, choose to become Christ's disciple and follow him with all your heart. When we, as disciples of Christ, are transformed into Christ's likeness, we start to follow God in every part of our life. And it's good for the body, no matter what age or gender or whatever. You just get excited when you see that newness, the freshness, a new person that says, you know, there's a brokenness and they're crying and they say, I am so repentant of what I've been and I'm ready to be a new believer. And when you see that happen, no matter what the age, it's exciting. It excites everyone. It's good for everybody. But it's interesting. We're in a culture where we say we need to be seeker-friendly. Well, the truth is we're all seekers. And I'm on my journey where I'm seeking probably harder than I ever have. And it's good, though, when a new seeker comes in, a brand new believer comes in, and they experience all this, and they're going, wow, this worship, man, this teaching, man, this is real. And they go, dude, I've got to be baptized. And so they choose to do it, and you're just like, woo! Everybody gets fired up, and it's just this, the passion that comes in a new person's brokenness that says, God, I'm sorry for the way I've lived, and I'm sorry for the sin that's in my life, and I need to change. And so that's like the first step in your seeking and finally deciding to follow him with all your heart. So, yeah, it's very significant for the whole body to continually see baptisms. We're in a culture where a lot of people are using the word seeker-sensitive a lot, and we hear that a lot. But the truth is, we're all seekers. And I, in this part of my journey, am seeking God harder than I ever have. And the cool thing about that is that we get to see a new believer come into the church. And when they come into the church and they seek God for the first time and they make the decision to be baptized, And there's just something about the energy that flows from that brokenness when they say, God, I'm sorry for the way I'm living. I need to change. I repent of the way I've been. Please forgive me. And then you see them say, I'm ready, let's do this. And there's this energy that's kind of given to the rest of all of us. No matter what age you are, we all get excited when a new believer gets transformed into the likeness of Christ.
I'm so excited about our church planting ministry here at Owensboro Christian Church. In fact, it started almost 9 years ago. In fact, it started as a result of one of our own staff members by the name of Ben Davis, who had a passion in his heart to go and start a church in his home area in Milwaukee. And that was in March of 1997. And as a result, they just opened a new facility about a month or so ago. And I'm happy to report they had 996 people at that first service in their new building. And that's just one example. The most recent plant that was planted was in Canton, Georgia. And we didn't know how many were going to show up. That's one of the neat things about church planting ministry. You know, we're going to have 50 or 500. And happy to say that there were over 400 people that attended that opening that day. What was neat about that, I got to take down my Sunday school class who had never experienced that before, the Promise Seekers class. And we took 24 people down, and we were able to help with all the things that go on in putting that first service on. And it changed their lives in a lot of ways. People came back and said, you know, it's something that I've never been a part of and enjoyed it so much, and something that we ought to do every year. In fact, not only that, but I feel like I'm a part of that church. And as a result, in Sunday school class each week, they're always asking me, how many did our new church have this past week? And what's neat about that also is that that's just 2 examples of the many church plants that we have. We have 7 others for a total of 9. And this past week, there were over 2,800 people that attended church because of the church planting ministry here at Owensboro Christian Church. And what's neat about the whole thing is it gives us an opportunity to reach beyond our walls and to be able to reach beyond our own community. We're able to go into different areas and to be able to establish a church, whether it be in a school or in a theater, whatever the case might be. We're able to go in and to offer Jesus to the people of that community. And so it's exciting to see what God's doing in these new church plants. Our goal is to have, our slogan is 10 churches by 2010. And as you well know by now that we have 9 churches that we've already planted. So we're going to be able to even go beyond that goal and to establish these churches. I'm excited to see what God's going to do in the future with this particular ministry. It's a great way for us to be able to reach out and to share Jesus with people. That's a real goal that we have in our community here, and we want to take that same value and that same opportunity that we have to share with people in other states too. So God's doing some great things, and hope He'll continue to do so.
My ministry stretches throughout Owensboro. Actually, I work at a faith-based agency called the Bulwer Mission, which we deal with homelessness through alcoholics and addicts throughout the community. With the methamphetamine problem that we have, it is a serious issue. I am also affiliated with New Horizons, which is the halfway house that is sponsored by Owensboro Christian Church. And through that ministry, that's Steve Newsom's ministry, I have sort of developed into the backup Sunday school teacher or the backup Bible school teacher for the New Horizons Bible study. And this ministry, the New Horizons, of course, is a halfway house for men who are in recovery, and there are very few of those, but it's for men who have suffered from alcohol and drug addiction. Now, in all cases, like this ministry, they are not bad people who are trying to be good, but they're sick trying to get well through the blood of Jesus Christ. And it is of course, New Horizons is a faith-based ministry, and so is the Bulwer Mission. And along with the mission and the New Horizons, there's also Lighthouse Recovery, and we've all joined together to form a Bible study on Wednesday nights, and it has just expanded. We started with a group of 4. I believe Steve started with a group of 4, and that's when I started to come and listen. And since then, we've done 40 Days of Purpose. And through this ministry. Steve Newsom had the idea of 40 Days of Purpose, and it has expanded, and it has gotten a little bit out of control because we went from 4 to 70. There's been 70 in there at one time. I think that's the highest it's ever been. And it's just a blessing from the Lord that Steve has allowed me to teach many days when he cannot be here. He's a local businessman, and I have taught that ministry on several occasions. Wednesday night here at the church, and it is just a joy to watch people's life change through it. In a lot of cases, I think you take someone from the surroundings of alcohol and drugs who have torn their life down and they've lost everything. It has set their morals, their boundaries, their beliefs, their attitudes, and through this ministry, we have been able to change lives, change attitudes. There's been behavioral overhauls, or really, if you want to say it the right way, there's been new people come out and evolve into this. Christ doesn't mend us. He doesn't fix us. He just, we're brand new. And the brand new lives that have been changed through this ministry have just touched my heart. And I don't just go to help others. It helps me. I learn every day from teaching in this ministry, and it's a new way of life for me, and it has put me on the track that God's will has for me. I'm on that track now, and I've just been renewed. Well, through this ministry here at the church, I guess you could say that lives, as I said, are changed on a daily basis. The longest journey in the world is from the mind to the heart, and it is a joy to watch people embark on this journey. It's one of the most rewarding things that I never understood. I am a recovering drug addict and alcoholic with 2 years sober, and it has changed my life. I embarked on that journey 2 years ago, and it's the longest journey in the world. And I see others who have come from lives of nothing but lies and theft and domestic violence and abuse, and being the abuser and being abused, and just go from a life that is led by God. And they not only are touched themselves, but now they're touching others, because they have learned that being a Christian is not just sit back and listen. It's also a responsibility of leadership. And I just see leaders every day, people who had no self-confidence, who had nothing in their life but bad. They were told they were nothing, and now they know they're valuable. And because of that, because that Jesus tells us that we're valuable, and they see this in themselves now, they have become leaders. And it's just a wonderful thing to see people today who change lives in the midst of their life being changed, and realize that that is the beginning of it all. The most rewarding thing for me through my life that Jesus has done is that it's been so enlightening to watch the shackles of selfishness and anger and violence and resentment be exchanged for the benign restraint of Christ's call, wherever it takes me.